What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to be talking about why I quit my job after 1 week in a psych ward. I worked there as an assessment clinician, and it's like, okay, Ruby, how did you work somewhere for 1 week? Okay, I had orientation the week before, and the second week they just started slowly throwing me into stuff, but I got to a point where I said, just stop the training right here. Stop the training right here. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I'm not cut out for this. Um, So I made it through the orientation week or the video week trainings. Then the next week when it was more hands-on and shadowing and doing things, I waited till the last day of that, went on my lunch break and decided I was not going back. I wasn't going back. I could not do it. Well, I'll say this. I did not want to do it anymore. And so I knew that day one when I sat in a couple assessments and just heard all those stories and how sad it was. And as I kept showing up every day, I started learning that my job as an assessment clinician was to be more than an assessment clinician. It was to be the assessment clinician. It was to be the receptionist. It was to be the nurse. And I didn't think that the pay was reflective of that. And the toll that working at a place like that has on your mental health, in addition to the extra roles that this particular facility wanted me to fill, no. So, yes, first day was so heavy. First day felt like a week as far as just the cases of the people that were coming in. Granted, this is a psychiatric facility. So, if you're coming to a psychiatric facility, it has to be pretty bad. Like, it has to be the worst of the worst, essentially. Um, Cases of, like, just whether it's depression, like a lot of suicide attempts, whether it's like you're having like a manic episode or like mental health crisis. It's a crisis place. And so seeing all that crisis and being all exposed to that and then the energy of that, and this is an inpatient facility and admitted people to those places, I wasn't built for it long term. Like after 1 week, who I was when I started, I'm not her anymore. And just even seeing like the people come in, the family members, whether they're coming in to drop off clothes, whether they're coming in to, watch them get taken away or like support them in their assessment, in their time of need. Um, it's a lot, and it was just too heavy for me, and I was just like, I'm not gonna be able to do it. And just the energy of the place just felt so heavy, and some of the issues that I had though, it was something that I felt like I could push through, but I thought like, Ruby, you don't have to prove anything to the people who are watching because I haven't worked in a while. So it's just like, oh, Ruby's getting a job. So let me prove to them that I'm working, I'm using my degree, I'm doing something. But I don't want to do it. Let me prove to the people who hired me, like, oh, you made a good decision. Even if you did make a good decision, like, I don't want to be around all this sadness, all the screaming, all the fighting. Like, I don't want to be in a place like that for 40 hours a week just for me to get 2 days off and come back and do it again. No, and no, I have the utmost respect for the people who are in this field and the people who can do it because it really does take a toll on your mental health. Like some of the stories that the receptionist who had been there for 4 months told me, I said, how are you still here? A patient slammed you against the wall. How are you still here? A patient slit their wrist in front of you. How are you still here? Like, n- not for me. And another reason why I left is like, I did see some crazy things. um, I don't want to say crazy, some disturbing things, but I didn't even want to give myself a chance to see what the receptionist had saw, and what me having to be a receptionist on night shift, what me having to give vital signs because they don't always have nurses, like having to be that up and close with these patients. Like I didn't want to give myself a chance to have an experience that was just not worth it, not worth the pay, not worth the mental sacrifice. And it's okay to know that you're not a fit for everything. Like, I don't fit everywhere, and that's okay. Clearly, I don't fit. I don't want to say nowhere, but I ain't had a job in a while, so I don't know where I'm supposed to be, but that is not it. And one thing that I'm big on and I get in trouble for is I be having a lot to say. I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. I don't like to say it because sometimes I feel like it could be too much. Like, I be having a lot to say about my friends. I'm like, like, don't do that. Stand up for yourself. Believe in yourself. Know your worth. Blah, blah, blah. And so when I was there, I was like, if any of my friends was feeling this way after work, crying before they have to go in. I did cry like after my first week of the orientation stuff, and I knew that it was going to be more hands-on and what I was really going to see. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. And I was just like, now is the time for you. You want to be telling people this and that. Like, it was hard. Like, I left on Friday. I knew Monday I didn't want to go back Tuesday. Like, I wasn't even supposed to make it past Friday. But I mean, past Wednesday. But I did. And I just was like, no, Ruby. Like, no, I know who I am. I know that I don't have to stay here for reasons other than I want to be here. Like, this is not somewhere I want to be. Like, it's something that I can do. I can make it work, but I have friends who took jobs when there were red flags in the beginning and they made it work and they end up getting burned in the end. They get left with nothing. And then their mental health and everything is just a shell of itself. And so while I understand, like, giving things a chance and being a go-getter or whatever you want to call it, that work culture, work hard, blah, blah, blah. And I do think there is balance to that, being able to push through hard things and giving things a chance. But at the same time, usually what's presented in the beginning of any relationship, whether it's a work relationship, regular relationship, that's an indication of what to expect in the end. And what I was experiencing or seeing in the beginning of this relationship with this company was they weren't organized. Everybody's who works there is burnt out and doing more than they're getting paid to do. And so it's just like, why would I think that it's going to get better if this is how it is starting? Even the way that they handle me, like I go in there and I don't know what I'm supposed to be, what I'm doing, certain things they say do this, and then other people, it's just, and so it's just like I had to walk away, and I walked away without nothing else lined up. Now, some people say stay until something else comes. Literally, if I stayed another week until something else came, I probably would be no good going into the next situation. Like, I gotta, y'all, I was supposed to do, I did the week of orientation, like, we learned how to do they don't have no security, okay? So I'm learning how to take people down, this and this and this. And then, all the trainings. Then the next week was, like, the shadowing. Then there was supposed to be another week of the shadowing and the, slowly. They say shadowing, but I was doing more than just shadowing. I was starting to do the task. And then another week of that. And then I was supposed to switch to a night shift. And I was just like, I didn't even make it to the next week. That's 2 days from now. I'm like, no. But what I learned being there is I don't want to say what causes people to break, but yeah, if you're at a psych facility, you're at your breaking point. You have broken either touch with reality, whether, you're hearing voices, seeing things, or you have broke the sense of who you are is no longer here. And so you just tried to leave. Like, you wanted to escape. You wanted to break out of this world. Like, you tried to hang yourself. You tried to, slit your wrist. You overdose. And so when you do the assessment, what brought you in here? And you hear the stories. And a lot of times it's things that start in childhood that don't get resolved, that don't get talked about. And so into their adulthood, they start to experience these same situations in different forms. And it just gets too much. It gets too much. And it's really sad. And I didn't realize how sensitive I was to this type of stuff. And like I said, the people who do it, my hat goes off to you, because I don't even want to become someone who just has, because I feel like for me, I had to numb my real self, because if you've been following, you already know I got my own stuff going on. I had to numb that to show up in there. Then when I'm talking to someone who is having a manic episode, or someone who is just, or it could be someone who's really sad, or whatever the case is be, like I'm not Ruby. I am assessment specialist. I'm the mental health provider. So I have to show up in that. Or if I'm dealing with someone who's difficult in the lobby, and sometimes I'm scared. Sometimes some big men come in there and they're just acting out. There's no plexiglass to protect me. There's no security to protect me. It's just me and these takedown drills that you showed me. And I just had to say goodbye. And so stay tuned to figure out where I end up. I will say saying goodbye was hard because I basically went through a year of not really working in my field after I worked. And so that's not a good look. And so it wasn't really, it was a good feeling at some point because I did need a break. Like life before school, during school, it was so hard, so heavy. And so like I really did need time to just decompress and stuff. But I needed money, and like being broke was like, wasn't fun. So I I was looking forward to like some financial freedom. So it was hard to say like no, like see Ruby, this is, you know, your step forward, da da da. And it was hard because I'm like, if I say no to this, at least if I stay, I know what I have to look forward to. I know how much money I have to look forward to, and I mean, at a psych ward, you can't really know what to look forward to because anything can walk through the door at any minute. But I had an idea. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be numb. I'm gonna see a lot of trauma. I'm gonna just go home. Go late. I get off at 5:30. I got 2 hours of light to watch the sunset, and I gotta eat dinner, shower, go to sleep, do it all over again. Like I knew that. But if I was like, if I say no to this, I'm going back into the open sea. I'm going back to applying to jobs. I'm going back to starting jobs and realizing, oh, they're ghetto. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going back to that, and I'm just like, I don't know how that long that's gonna last, and that's scary. But I just was like, I just did it. So I don't know if that was a good decision or not. My friend supported me. I have a spiritual counselor, and she's just my friend who I just was like, you're my spiritual counselor, dude. That's just, it just is what it is. She didn't ask for it. I just told her that because the stuff that she says is just really good. And it's interesting that she's a spiritual counselor, and she didn't even grow up with, she didn't grow up, I don't know. I guess she grew up spiritual more than religious. Like her mom grew up Muslim. Her dad grew up Christian, but they just decided to raise their kids neither. And like, I guess the books she's read and the things that she just knows, she really be getting me through. And so she would just talk about from an energy level and just like being around that and the imprints it can make on my own subconscious mind and my own experience. She just didn't think it was good for me spiritually. And because I am an empath, I do feel things. And so I was like, yeah, you're right. And it's like, if I made you my spiritual counselor, like you didn't ask for that title and you're telling me this, and I'm already feeling this anyway, I'm not going to take no chances to F around to find out about why I wasn't supposed to be there. I already know. I knew when I did the interview, a couple days before that, I looked up the Google reviews. I looked up the Indeed reviews. They're both like 2.4 stars. So yeah. So anyway, I had my lunch break. I went to the lady and I'm like, my supervisor, and I come in. I'm like, let me close the door. This is gonna be awkward. And she was like, why? I was like, She was like, are you about to quit? I said, yes. She said, why? I said, it's too much. It's too much. I tried to make it a night shift to see if I would like it. See if I would like it. She was like, do you want to switch to day shift? I was like, no. I want to switch to day shift. Day shift is way more than night shift. It's more people. It's more hectic. No. I was like, it's just a lot. I thought I could do it, but I can't. She was like, it's a lot, but it'll slow down. And I'm just like, do I look like I was born yesterday? So she's like, I was like, I was going to wait till the weekend and think about it over the weekend. She said, well, just think about it over the weekend. I'm like, okay. I thought about it. I had all week to think about it. I'm going to come in on Monday with my badge, my keys. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so sorry it didn't work out. And I do have feedback for you guys if you want to help people stay, because during my orientation, there was like a group of like 15 of us. And every time I ran into someone from orientation, I'm like, how's it going? They rolling their eyes, or they making a face, or it's just, so yeah. That is why I quit my job after 1 week. I could do story times, but not yet. I don't want to, this is real life. Like, this just happened yesterday. I don't want to relive none of those stories. I don't want to feel what I felt in those moments. I don't want to think about it. It just took up too much of my life for too long. Because it's like, you go through a whole day, 8 hours of seeing all this stuff or reading it. Some of the stuff, I was just reading that the hospitals was faxing to us, the stories, and I got to decide if we're going to accept or deny them. And just reading them, especially reading people who are younger than me, or same age as me, like, you do that all in one day, and you go to sleep, wake up, and then it's a whole new line of stories. No, I don't want to talk about it. So yes, that is the story how I quit after 1 week. I just felt like it wasn't worth my mental health. I got a taste of 1 week, and I'm like, I don't want months of this. I don't want years of this. I could do this in a different setting. I could do this somewhere else. I don't have to stay here. If I believe that I had to stay there, then I would have. If I believe I have to stay here to make money, I have to stay here then that is my choice. And if I believe I have to leave, then I get to leave. And being willing to deal with the consequences. One of the things my spiritual counselor said is you can't get your mind back. You lose that, you can't get it back. And she right. And I got a history in my bloodline of just mental health issues and stuff. So I'm not trying to activate nothing. I'm not trying to put myself at risk when I knew better. And if you want to talk about it, the energy of where I was at in my life when I got this job, how I attracted it, not good. Literally the day before my interview. The day before my interview. My roommate told me she wanted to terminate the lease immediately. I had to figure out where the fuck I was going to, where the heck I was going to live. I had to figure out how I was going to pay for my next, my world had just got turned upside down. I don't know nothing. And then I show up to this interview and no, and it was already the red flags with the Google reviews, the Indeed reviews from the people who worked there. Then my interview's at 1:30. I get there, there's a girl, she's like, are you here for an interview? I'm like, yeah. She's like, girl, my interview was at 1, I'm still waiting. I was like, there goes a sign right there. Like, I'm professional. To be waiting 30 minutes for an interview is wild. She was a CNA. My department was therapy assessment. I only had to wait 5 minutes. But, no. Sometimes I have little moments where I feel bad, but I'm gonna be glad when I look back, because I do believe that if you stay somewhere, like if you ignoring the red flags and stuff, sometimes it's normal, it's human. Like we all, sometimes when you want something, you want it, so you're gonna make something work. But I feel like it's just not a good feeling to go against yourself, and I do feel like it don't be worth it when you find out what that feeling was. If you have a feeling deep down, it's like that was off, that was strange, I don't really feel it. And then once you find out what it was, like damn, I should have just listened to myself, or it wasn't really worth it. And so I didn't want to F around and find out. And I had to practice what I preached. So yeah, I didn't make it. I'm just taking a chance on myself. I done already lost my mom. I done already lost everything. Like what else? I don't want to give it. I don't want to test God and see what else he can take from me. I don't want to do that. But I feel like, I guess I'm feeling brave and courageous enough to take a chance on myself and the probability of life to see if I can end up somewhere better. And if I can't, guess what? They always hiring because they can't keep you anyway. But I won't go back. But it's just gonna have to be okay. And if it's not, then I'll just have to figure it out. I've been figuring everything else out that hasn't been okay. Excuse me. So yeah, that's how I only lasted a week. For the people, if you are someone who works there, if you have a family member who works there, go get them, bring them some coffee to work, bring them some flowers to work, like light up their day. Literally, I was talking to ChatGPT. I was like, it was saying like when you work in like emotionally place like that are heavy like that, like sometimes it's not good to just go sit in silence immediately after, like go for a walk. I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy, because that's what I've been doing. As soon as I clock out the building, badge out the building, I'm like, take a deep breath. And I just want to talk, but I don't really want to talk about everything that's on there. Let's talk about something else. I don't want to keep that place alive in my head when I'm not there. But also sometimes I did have to let people know what was going on. So yeah, be kind, loving, and caring to yourself and others. Bye. That was an abrupt ending, but bye.